Today we're going to talk about the power of our words. Words are absolutely powerful in the kingdom of God. They can cause life or death. In fact, Proverbs 18 talks about the power of life and death actually being in the tongue. So depending on how we're using our tongue can be lighting forest fires of destruction or blessing. And James even goes on in his epistle to warn the church about the power of their tongue and to use it for good. At one moment we'll be blessing our brother, the next moment we'll be cursing him, somebody who is created in God's image. And he said these things ought not to be so. So bridling the tongue is an important aspect of growing in godliness. We got to learn to develop this tongue, not just to not say bad things, but actually come into the power of utilizing it for a force for change and grace and transformation in the nations. So the greatest example of power of a word is in Genesis 1, when God spoke the world into creation. He spoke it. He didn't do a bunch of work and then had a world. Within his heart, he must have imagined or dreamed of what this world was going to be, and then he spoke into existence what that world was to come forth as. And every time he created something, he spoke it, and then he would say, "It is good," as if it's lining up or measuring up with the vision he had in his heart for what the earth should be. So this is something Jesus was adamant in teaching and instructing his disciples when he was on earth, was to reclaim their understanding and restore it concerning their own words. One moment, you see Jesus going to a certain place, and as he goes along the way, he sees a fig tree and he curses it. And the next day, the disciples see that same fig tree and it's absolutely wrecked. So it's a pretty phenomenal miracle that took place through just speaking words. So let's go there and visit that section of scripture for a moment, and then we'll break it down. So Matthew 21, verses 18 through 22. Now in the morning, he returned to the city. He was hungry. And seeing a fig tree by the road, he came to it and found nothing on it but leaves, and said to it, "Let no fruit grow on you ever again." Immediately the fig tree withered away. And when the disciples saw it, they marveled, saying, "How did the fig tree wither away so soon?" So Jesus answered and said to them, "Assuredly I say to you, if you have faith and do not doubt, you will not only do what was done to the fig tree, but also if you say to this mountain, 'Be removed and be cast into the sea,' it will be done. And whatever things you ask in prayer, believing, you will receive." So the Lord is getting their understanding back into walking in the Spirit, walking in the power of God, that their tongues aren't just there to be entertained with, to talk, to say whatever, but to actually speak and be a creative force for good. And also a creative force for destroying what's evil. And that's a whole other part that's hidden in this parable or this passage, is the Lord dealing with something by his words that need to be shut down. So both those things have been given to us to do. Job talks about the power of decree. Decree a thing and it will be established for you. So one way you do that is you find out what God has for your life or somebody's life, and you begin to contend for that through your spoken word. Note how many times when God healed somebody or Jesus healed someone in the scriptures, words came with that healing. He said his words are both spirit and truth. So they're both logically true, but they also have a power to them that can create and release things in the earth. So you see him in several of the accounts of healing saying, "Be thou loosed," or "Stretch forth your hand," or "Be made well." So he's accompanying the presence of God, the impartation, laying on of hands with a spoken word. So it's releasing that without doubting. So the Lord just gave so many keys in what he broke down to these disciples. And he said, if you can do this with a fig tree, you can do it to a mountain. If you can do it to a mountain, you certainly can heal a headache. So again, lay hands on the sick and believe, using your words to bring healing in the name of Jesus. So that's kind of what we want to talk about today. I'm going to go in a little bit more about how God has used his disciples and men of God, prophets, were using their words, and we're just doing stuff, to shift entire nations and to subdue kingdoms and to rout enemies. So we're going to see more and more how these words continue to cooperate with the Spirit of God in our life. And when we do that, you'll see your own life change. Another thing to remember when using your words is that it may not happen immediately. In this case, it did. It was really quick, the next day. But sometimes you need to stay on something in faith, in prayer, in decree, until that thing is established, until it shifts and changes. So I'll share even some dreams the Lord spoke to me concerning how to operate in the power of my words to see outcomes shift that are in line with His will. So at any rate, be blessed. Use your mouth for blessing, not for cursing, and grow in the power of understanding your tongue and how God can use it for good. God bless.